Hi guys, and welcome on back to the survival project. In the last episode we built a little garden up just out there, you can see through the gate, and as you can probably tell I managed to get the replay mod working a bit, so I did like a little bit of a test, just built up a little bit of the wall here. Now I found that as I was building this wall up, we was having some like really tight little corners like you can see there, and I think I found quite a nice little solution for them there using the polished andesite. Just continuing that same one pattern along, but just coming out diagonally each time. And I think it works out pretty well. I think that's a pretty decent example of it over there. It just sort of helps to break the wall up a little bit as well, actually. I'm wondering whether I actually should have just made this section a little bit thicker than just one anyway. But let's fly on over to the other side and we can take a look from over here. So I think all in all this wall is looking pretty good. We need to do a little bit of work on this edge here because it looks a little bit flat, but we are fairly limited in space. So this is kind of exactly how I wanted this to be. I wanted everything to be really nice and tight, but as we come round to here, this is exceptionally tight. So I think this opens us up to something quite interesting we can do. So it's not actually a bad thing, I don't think. We can get some sort of oak planks, maybe oak. Either oak or spruce, and we can create like a little wooden walkway that's going to come over the edge of the cliff a little bit, just to thicken this pathway out, and I think that should actually make this look quite a little bit more interesting as well. Now, yeah, that's basically going to continue all the way along here actually. I think that'd be a pretty cool idea, right the way up to this point, and then we can have it just come back into a natural path. Now, I went around and I gathered up some more of the animals we needed. I got some more pandas, that took a long time. And I got some llamas, that really didn't take too long. There's a little mountain area over there towards the swamp area. And yeah, I just grabbed a few of them from there and brought them back. I'm intentionally not taming these guys. I don't want any of the animals to be tamed. So I think from the book, can we check any more of this off now? So we got the llamas, yes. I think I'm going to give up on the ocelots, to be honest. I think that's going to be way too much hassle. And getting those pandas back from the jungle as well was a pain on its own. But the wolves, getting wolves might not be too much of a difficult task. Now, the other thing I really need to consider is how much space I realistically have, because this is going to be taking up quite a lot of space. So, at the moment, I probably want to get... probably going to keep these guys on two. We're going to get some spare rabbits, and we're definitely going to get some more foxes. But yeah, the llamas will probably stay like that as well. So what I'm thinking is we shall go and sleep real quick. So yeah, what I'm thinking is we can use the llamas and the rabbits as an almost like younger generation sort of part of the farm. So it's the sort of thing, maybe we could tame these guys up and you could ride them. Or the rabbits will have like a little enclosure that you can go in because they're going to be fairly tame animals, like in the real world. The foxes, the two sets of bears and the wolves, they're obviously not going to be tamed at all because they're wild animals. They're dangerous. Yeah, so that is basically the plan. Now you can see over in the distance here, if I could take off, please. Yeah, you can see that I've got this like pink concrete pattern here. Now this is just me marking out how I want things to be, because a bit of an issue I've got with this island at the moment is I've completely flattened it down and it's kind of boring. I don't really want that. So what I'm going to be doing is raising the terrain up a little bit here and there. So I was just kind of marking it out there where I want it to come up and down. We're going to bring it up again over at this little peak point here. And what I'm going to do with these areas is just have them as like little seated overlook areas. So, you know, we've got the ocean here. So it should be pretty nice. And yeah, the central area here, I think is where we're going to have our panda enclosure. I think that's what we're going to sort of have as the main attraction for this place. And that should wind up looking really, really good. Now, as I said before, this wall is going to close off over this side. We're not actually going to have an entrance from over here. And the other main entrance is going to be over here somewhere. But what I might do is make it so that the entrance is actually on the other side of the bridge. So once you come through onto here, you're already within the park. So going to have another one of these big old gates just for consistency's sake on that side. And you're going to come onto a bridge and that's going to lead you into the park. We're not going to completely follow the wall all the way round. So that wall there is probably going to wind up sort of ending off around here, is what I'm thinking. In fact, I don't really want to keep it as a straight edge. So basically, we're going to come diagonally out a little bit at a time from there over to this edge. And that should look pretty cool. And on this side, literally, we're just going to do one segment of the wall and then close it off from here. So that'll probably bring it to a roundabout here. And then that's going to be all of the walling that I want, because I do still want this to be kind of open. I don't want the entire island to be walled off, otherwise it's going to feel a little bit like a prison island, which is not great. At any rate, I think I have probably nattered on for long enough. I don't know how much of the replay mod we're going to be using today, because I think it is still a little bit temperamental, but sometimes I can sort of get it going. But what I'm going to work on is probably fixing up this little area here. Now this is really tight actually, and because of these trapdoors I can't actually turn this into the path block. But if I've got some coarse dirt, that's a fairly similar sort of texture, so that could work just by adding the coarse dirt in underneath there. And here we'll probably get a little bit of plant life, and here we're going to build that little wooden structure, which I think is where we're going to sort of get started with our building today. So let me go get some resources and we'll get started on that one. So just before I get a bit too carried away with myself, I thought I'd come in and show you what I've done. We've just added like a little bit of grass and some mossy cobblestone in there with some lilacs. And we added the little cliff facing bit in here. I might come along the bottom here actually, and all we're really going to need to do is some of that. We'll get some bamboo and that in here as well, because that should wind up making it look pretty good. But just adding a little bit of sort of grass life. I don't want any of these red flowers about the place, or the yellow ones, just simply because I don't really like them. But yeah, we're going to get some bamboo coming along the edge of this little bit down here, because that could look pretty cool. And yeah, just continuing to follow this round, I built up like a little bit of a garden area. So we got another one of the little thin custom tree designs that I showed you guys off in the last episode. A few more of the lilacs and just a little bit of grass about the place. I actually want to get something else in there just to thicken that little bit out a little bit. And I found a little bit of a solution to this, which is leaf spam, because as I'm sure you all know, leaf spam pretty much solves everything in this game. It makes builds look 100 times better, but yeah, it just sort of helps break up the flatness and the boringness of that. I think as well we might need to do something with the top section there to make that look a little bit better. But I do think this is starting to help round this side of the island off a little bit. Now we need to do something here actually, because to me this looks really sort of bare and empty compared to the rest of it, as well as this side along here as well. So I don't know whether it's worth just getting some grass and ferns. I believe I can put ferns down on this stuff. Obviously on Podzol you can't grow grass naturally, so you have to actually come along and place it all in manually like so. But it could wind up looking pretty good if we were to just sort of like thicken this out a little bit. We'll get some ferns and that, and we can sort of chuck some bushes in as well. It's just, as I was working on that side, I started to notice how sort of empty this side of the island was starting to look now. And we'll chuck that bush down there. So hopefully that'll help it look a little bit better. And yeah, I mean, it's certainly an improvement. Do we want to put plants down? Let me just see if I can actually... It's been a while. Yeah, so I can put plants down on here, but I'm not sure if that's realistically the right way to go about this. We'll see. We'll see what we come up with for that. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit. Over here, what I'll probably do is just get some more of these lavenders and just fill that out. Anyway, I think it's about time we get into this main little section here. So we are going to be building up a nice little wooden walkway. I think I might have it so that it bows downwards a little bit. Again, just to add like another little point of interest. Kind of make it look like a rope bridge, maybe? No, I don't think a rope bridge is going to work. It's going to have to be a bit of a more structurally sound thing. So, yeah, let me see what I can come up with. Just real quick before I actually get started on this section, I actually wound up adding in some of our dark oak leaves on that side, and I think that does make it look quite a bit better. And yeah, I just carried the lavender over like I said I would, so that is all good. Into this bit. I think this looks pretty good, but we can definitely get a bit more creative. I think this is something a little bit more our speed. So there's plenty of space to walk around. We've got a fairly interesting little roof design going on there. I might need to do a little bit of work on that just to make it look a little bit better, but it's a bit of a weird angle where it wasn't like quite perfectly balanced on either side. But I think we've managed to pull it off a little bit. Just needs a little bit of extra work here and there, and then it will wind up looking pretty damn good. But yeah, it gives us loads of space to move around, and I think it's just a lot more interesting than just leaving it as the sort of basic design. Now, we've still got a little bit of space over here that we want to sort of extend out, so I am going to keep this little part of the path here is going to remain quite thin, and over here I don't want to go into too much pulling it out. So what I'm thinking is we keep this side really simple, and we pull this out a little bit, maybe up to about there, and we'll get like a dirt block to put in there. I don't have any on me at the moment, but we're going to carry this over, and basically we're just going to come in a bit of an angle, and by a bit I mean a fairly sharp angle, but this should wind up just being fine doing it like this. And we'll bring this bit over like so, and then maybe do we want one more? I don't think we do really want one more. We're just going to keep that really tight there, and then that should give us enough room to get back onto the main path. It just means that we're going to have to make sure that this bit here is a little bit thicker when we come into building the wall. The wall's basically going to be starting to come back off of this section here anyway. So I'll put a fence there to remind me of that. So this is going to have like a little bit where it can dip in. I have no idea why I broke that, but what I meant to do was that. So yeah, you'll be able to go in a little bit there, and that should help keep all of this nice and open. So realistically, just to finish this bit off, we just need to come up like so. And we can put one probably here right on the edge. So if we drop down here, that's going to give us the spot where we want to place our plank, and we're going to put it in the wrong place to begin with, of course, and just bring this up like so. And that essentially is all this is going to be. Nice, simple, straightforward. In fact, it might just be worth bringing this section out a little bit more and getting our, just before it turns dark, I might as well finish this bit off and just pull these over like that. And in fact, we could probably get rid of this trapdoor and just replace it with one of these, and then that is this area pretty much closed off. I do want to keep this side here nice and simple as opposed to this more complicated bit, because this is only really covering a short space. So if we just run over the other side of this very handy bridge that we have here and get rid of this zombie by actually hitting him and not missing him, we can see it is a really simple design. We need to get some more of the fences. I thought I heard a creeper behind me then. I was about to jump out of my skin. Yeah, so we need to get some more of the acacia fences and just fill that little gap in and get like a little bridge bit across there like that. That will be pretty much that bit done. So in the next clip, I thought I heard a creeper again. It's the sound of the podzol. I must, yeah, you just step on it a little bit and it sounds like the hissing. Yeah, actually, I'm just thinking, I think I've used quite a bit of time so far. So, unfortunately, I think this is where I'm going to end this episode off. I'm really happy with the way all of this is starting to turn out now. really coming together, as all of our little areas seem to be doing at the moment. I really like working on it one island at a time, so yeah, we're going to do a large amount of work over here and try and get this done as quickly as possible. Next episode, I want to make huge progress. So you're probably going to see some actual time lapses. We're going to build up the cliff facings to the sort of heights that we want them and start getting this planned out properly. So yeah, I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode. It may not seem like we got that much done, but I feel like we actually have. We're definitely bringing all of the areas together quite well, and I really love the way that that's starting to look now. So yeah, with all of that being said, I will catch you guys in the next episode.